All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Impact Podcast. I'm Jeff, your host, and today is a special episode. We've got three people now in the call, three people in person. I know we've done three in the past with Zoom, but yeah, I got Allie and Mike here today. How you doing, guys?
Good.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Thanks. Well, we were focused on a exciting topic here today. As you guys know, for those of you that may have watched the other episodes, we just kind of went over broad, everybody here at the agency, like what we specialize and what everybody's expertise are. But in today's episode, I wanted to primarily focus on one specific site, and essentially we're going to do like a live audit of a prospect's website, somebody that's already out there and may be interested in scaling their online business and things of that nature. And we're essentially going to do it live, and we've got some other exciting things. And when Mike and I were talking about it, he was consulting with Allie, and she got excited and wanted to join us.
Yeah. Well, it's like and one of the reasons was because I feel like Allie is an expert on this specific type of website. So I was like, I can give so many suggestions on this, but it really helps to have someone on the team that is like an expert on like the thing. So
You're hyping me up. I appreciate it.
yeah, on the actual niche of the brand. So.
Yes. Yeah. You're the webmaster, so it works out. It's a good team.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, I know how to do a lot of this stuff, and I really thoroughly understand our business here. But these guys are the experts, and that's the fun part about having them on the episode, especially here in person, where we can all just kind of be in the same room, which is throwing a little bit of a twist Josh's way as far as like layout and stuff and complications. But that's his creative.
Throw the wrench in there. Yeah,
it's that's his creative problem to solve. To actually throw in there and show some of the things that we're looking at on screen. So obviously we all have our own laptops here today, and I really wanted to take a look at this one website that a friend of mine had shown us and had some questions about on, hey, what are some things that we can do for this customer's website. And they've got a good online presence for their specific niche. They're doing well, they're converting sales, but they really want to scale up their online presence and their online business, which is perfect because that's exactly what we do for folks. And so I thought, what better opportunity than for us to live, quote unquote, go over it here. So let's dive right in. I mean, the name of the site, which you'll see down here in the bottom part of the screen, will actually be showing the site, but the name of the site is shopamaresoul.com, and hopefully I said that properly.
Yeah.
But
it sounds right.
But
Fort Lauderdale.
Absolutely, Florida. You can sit here and look at it. This site reminds me a lot of Allie. And now you guys don't realize it, but Allie is very much into this type of thing. I mean, not necessarily Florida, but just like anything fashion related or design, stuff like this, clothing, boutique and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's
style.
What's that?
Girly style.
Yeah, that's her thing. So any of you haven't seen her Instagram, you should check it out. But let's dive right in and into it, and just start off by taking an overall look. I guess I'm gonna let Mike start off the process here. I mean,
okay.
Generally speaking, what can we do to help this client out?
Yeah, so I'll focus on on the website, because I think Allie's going to talk a lot about like branding and like presenting things in the best possible light. But as she's going to go over too, this is a very competitive niche that this exists in. I would put apparel up there with supplements and coffee and these things that, like, there's a trillion brands doing this, and you really have to stand out. But I'm going to focus on like on the website of things, like just the conversion stuff. So when I go to these, the first thing on the homepage that strikes me is I want all these photos to have pictures of models. I also personally would prefer the portrait orientation over a square one. So if you look at, I'm going to show different examples, but this is a good example of, and right now I'm on was it, how do you pronounce that? Faherty. Anyways, Faherty.
Be careful how you say
Faherty.
that, Mike.
I don't. Yeah.
Faherty.
Yeah,
Well,
I was a hooked on phonics kid, so I have trouble pronouncing things. I write computer code, but yeah. So you'll have to excuse that. But so when you look on here, like if I want to select my color, I can, but I can also go ahead and select my size. So, when you have something as straightforward as apparel, right? You're seeing the model, you see the shot, you know whether you want it. You don't need to know, you might want to know this, but you don't necessarily need to know like the fabric blend and all the things that you would see on the page. So the customer does need to have the option, in my opinion, to just go ahead and check out from here impulsively. So if I go to this website, instead of a shop now, I would actually just like to see an add to cart button right there, because it does the same thing as hovering and clicking on the actual product. So you already have that functionality when you click on the image. So instead of shop now, I would put add to cart there. If you have things where you need to select, your large size, your like whatever, it needs to work similar to this, where you can just do, quick add to cart right here, hover and get it. I really like how you can just select the one option you need to, and then with the size and just go ahead and purchase. So that's one thing that I would definitely suggest. And I also said, I want to see, on the like just pretty much on all these to have models, because even when I see, for example, these Alice mini crossbody, I believe these are purses, Allie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw on the Facebook page, the brand was using promotional, photos of models with this. So I know that there are photos with models wearing, these purses, and I definitely think, switching to the portrait mode and fully showing the photo instead of cropping them out, would put everything in its best light. Because really what you want is when people hit a website like this, you want them to immediately associate the brand and like crave, like, I want to be like this person that's on this page. So it's definitely going to convert a lot better if you have a human being here. Another thing that me and Allie both agreed on, and I don't want to steal all your ammo and all your thunder, was we both feel as though you can see on the homepage that the brand, obviously, it has an in-person store. So I would immediately suggest like having more products on there just to add some legitimacy to the website. So almost everything that goes through the inventory system within the store needs to sync up with the inventory system on the site, so that the brand has pretty much their whole inventory available, or like most of it. They can curate a little bit, but there needs to be more, in my opinion, than like 36 products just to add legitimacy. Like, this is a successful physical store that wants to have an online presence. I feel like, maybe the online presence needs to step it up on the presentation side, the product selection, just pretty much everything. The site itself kind of gives like a, almost like a stock Shopify website, to be honest with you.
Right.
If there's not going to be any social proof on the website with no like reviews and stuff, which not all these sites have, like there are great sites in this list that have no social proof, that have no reviews on there. But if you're gonna do that, you really have to like make the site look sexy and like really like pull out that branding. So
one of the things I think that's really interesting that you're pointing out, if I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine. I've been talking. Yeah.
I know you're on a roll, but I really love the first two things that you said about how you would prefer to see a photograph with the person using whatever the product or the item is.
Yeah.
That takes me all the way back to my early days of advertising, when the guy, a good friend of mine, art director, that taught me to always use happy people. I mean, you can't go wrong with happy people.
Right.
Like you said, it's going to make you want the product more. You can put detailed photographs in the site, but you want to keep that stuff on the interior of the experience. And the other thing you pointed out too is, as opposed to the shop now, just to add to cart, guys, on online marketing, we want to make the experience as seamless and as fast as possible. And so if we can get one less click to cart and purchase, that's a game changer for us.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point that out. I mean, I think if you were to replace all of these photographs with happy people photographs,
right,
and kind of maybe a good site to think about would be maybe jcrew.com too. Like, they do a really good job of that. So anyhow, sorry, just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and even with like, and I promise, like, I'm gonna let Allie pop off here in a second. I'm almost done with all my suggestions because I'm just like talking about web stuff. I would say too, even with the like, for example, with this color. So imagine instead of this 2-click thing where you go white, black, baby pink, apple green, you actually see circular swatches of colors with the texture, maybe even like a little tiny photo of the actual product. Don't have to do that. That's a lot of work. Take those, get those in. Even if it's just a circular swatch, that saves a click right there. Because like I have to click once. That's 2 clicks. If you have circles, that's 1 click. Boom, you're eliminating a click right there. Same thing with size, small and medium. You're eliminating a click. Anytime I see drop downs and I'm doing redesigns, every single time I've split tested it, eliminating a click has always been better. So I never use these drop downs, even though that's default what Shopify does. Lastly, before I pass the torch over to Allie, I if the brand has to do this, I totally get it. But I'm actually put off a little bit by this returns policy. It says like no refunds, exchange, or store credit only. If they have to do this, totally understand. If we were bringing this client on as a client, I would ask questions about this because it's a really competitive market to do this online. I totally get it. If they're doing that in store, they want to be able to just count on that sale to be a final sale, right? Like totally get it. If they can't eliminate that, that's fine. But I would experiment if I were them to see what the return rate is. If you just kind of make that a little bit more customer friendly, just some friendly feedback on that. I know, the brand might see that and be like, oh, well, we can't do that. That's okay. That's just a suggestion that I have just because of the hyper competitiveness of that market. Like I bought shoes on this website called Vessi, and one of the things that made me pull the trigger on shoes that are over $100, and you know me, I'm very frugal. I don't generally spend that. I'm just that type of guy. And then one of the things was if your shoes don't fit you, you can ship them back within like this so long period. It was like 60 days or something like that if you don't like them. And it's like, I thought that was overly generous, but it caused me to like pull the trigger because I know like they have my back if I don't like the shoes. And then I ended up liking, I'm sure the return rate is much lower than the extra sales that you get from doing that. But again, I won't linger on that because they might have already said in their mind, like, I can't do anything but that. So
it sounds like to me, so it looks like Mike is kind of almost done giving his input, but like at the end of the day, from the web perspective, initially, it's just making a few minor tweaks and adjustment to make the user experience easier and faster.
Yeah.
And then that's step one.
Yeah.
And then step two, obviously visuals are always, you can upgrade them as much as possible. So more photographs with people and things of that nature. Whatever you can do to make it more clean and fast.
Absolutely.
So then moving on over to Allie, since you decided to join us.
She's been telling us this brand's been killing it. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike, for letting me join in on your segment. I appreciate that. You provided a lot of really great feedback. I learned something new about, the color choices and sizing. That was really interesting to learn. But yeah, so moving on to kind of more of like my perspective, like in being interested in this specific niche. So a good example that I instantly thought of was Red Dress. So they were actually on Shark Tank, and I've worked with them actually through my Instagram where I work with brands, and they were one of my favorites because they just have such a professional yet clean look, but you also know their brand. Like their branding is very consistent and cohesive across their social and their website. And I love how just clear and crisp their pictures are as well. Like I love like the featured shop section that you can see, then shop the look. Like there's just a lot of different elements and it feels very interactive. Like when you click on pictures and stuff.
I'm trying to mirror your your stuff that way when they see what you're doing. Anyways, go ahead. No, I just wanted to explain why I'm doing that.
Yeah, no, perfect. I appreciate that. So then I love like the bestsellers section because I know a lot of people tend to look at that section as well. So then there's like shop the latest styles. There's just a lot of different tabs and categories because like when I'm looking for things, specifically, it's kind of nice just to be like, okay, I'm looking for a pair of pants. I'll go to the bottoms and the different sections specifically for that. And as they've mentioned, having people in the pictures, like models, like with the clothing items, makes a huge difference. It helps bring the product to real life. Then potential customers can see it and be like, okay, so this is what it would look like on. They kind of get an idea of the way it wears, and then they get to see kind of some movement with the piece of clothing. And yeah, I mean, everyone likes to look at how something looks on a person and a human for reference when they're going to purchase something. And these pictures all look super real. Like, they're not very stock photo-y,
Right.
They look very authentic.
Yeah.
They just have a very authentic vibe, which I think nowadays is the way consumers are shifting, even with the way people are consuming content online, like TikTok. Like, people always gravitate towards real, authentic content, which is something to keep in mind for brands across the board. We, as consumers, you see a lot of like curated, edited things, but sometimes it's like, I just really like following this specific person because their content is real and relatable. And that, in a sense, goes with, branding for a company and showing pictures on a website. So yeah, there's a lot of things that kind of correlate there. And can you actually pull up their Instagram page?
Oh,
Since
for a
you're-
red dress? Sure.
Or no, actually both of them, yeah. If
Okay.
you don't mind.
Sure.
So while Mike's doing that, so what you're saying, Allie, is that trying to, before you dive into, I mean, I guess you can go into running ad campaigns to increase in conversions and sales and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But maybe before doing so, you might want to focus on trying to get this vibe, this nicer, cleaner, authentic vibe on your site. That's going to help with conversions when you actually run ads.
From my perspective, absolutely. You want to have a very consistent way you're branding your business and having that across all of your platforms. And yeah, if that means starting over, I'm telling you, sometimes it makes such a difference. So looking at Amare's Instagram account.
Yeah, I'll pull that up now.
Okay, you're totally fine. Well, while he's doing that, I'll talk about
there it is.
Okay, perfect. So I will say I like that they have a consistent look with their color scheme. They have it on their profile image and then as well as their highlight covers. I appreciate the little things, like if a brand has like a nice section that's organized for their highlights. Yeah, so that's a positive thing. I also like that they do have a good amount of like images with people wearing the products. That's awesome, but some things that I would suggest are, the last post was 2 weeks ago. So you hear it all the time, posting consistently makes a difference, but I promise you it does. You don't want to bombard your viewers, but you still want to be posting, one time per day, or at least like 4 to 5 per week, just so that they're getting a constant flow from your company, and you want to keep them wanting to see your content. So yeah, posting consistently is definitely always beneficial. And
Is that how often you post on yours?
Yeah, actually I probably do 3 times a week.
Okay.
But because it is also like my side thing, right? I know I need to be doing what I preach. But yeah, I typically post, well, actually on my TikTok account, I've been posting every day or every other day, and I've noticed an huge increase in growth recently, which is not me just being, cocky. Like, I truly have, and I'm telling you, it's made a difference, especially I think for that platform. So like Instagram, you don't have to be posting every single day necessarily, but you still want to have a nice flow and have like maybe a schedule that you're doing just to keep you on track for what you need to be doing by producing content. And I will say, like, I do appreciate like, pictures of people in outfits and like, showing off the products. But what I think would also help elevate this brand's social presence is incorporating trends. There are so many fashion trends online. There's like a whole side of fashion, TikTok, for example, that I tend to get on. So there's all kinds of little trends, like of people doing like outfit of the day posts. So they're called OOTD with that hashtag. But there's just so many different kinds of like video ideas you can do that can help generate more viewers, because then, you know, they're looking at that exact trend, and then they're gonna, you know, look through other people who have done that trend, and it just, you know, it'll help pique their interest, and it makes your brand have more personality. The more personality you can bring to your brand, the better, because you want people to, you know, be like, wow, I understand this brand, like who they are, what their messaging is, and they just seem like such a cool, fun brand, and like
Right.
relevant. You want to be relevant. So yeah, I think
Makes sense.
that's the majority of my talk.
Yeah. And do you think it would help them to post like some of the pictures of the inside of their store to
Yeah.
where it like maybe after below like the description you know, I think they should test having a section like below the main image here
Yeah.
that between the footer and the main image that just has like on every single page just has pictures of their store and people getting their stuff just so that people see it and they're not like, oh, this is like a you know, like a drop shipping brand or like what, like,
Love
you know,
that
that
idea.
they see it and they're like, okay, this is a physical store
Yeah.
with a presence and relevancy and like,
Yes.
you know, maybe some more stuff about their presence in Fort Lauderdale or like some of their history there.
Yeah.
Just something that like pulls people in and says like, you know, you stumbled upon this brand, but you stumbled upon the right brand for you.
Yes.
You know?
I love that idea. And also because like when I'm looking at their Instagram, for example, I love the pictures that you can tell are in their store.
Yeah.
So showing that they have an actual in-store location,
Yeah.
you know, it makes them seem even more credible. And also it's like, you know, I think they could even take it to the next level and give some backstory about why they started this company, why they're passionate about it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, maybe even doing content that shows off some of their customers when they
Right.
come in. Like
It's like, and that type of stuff could be in like an about us section too. There's no
Yeah.
about page. So it could say like, you know, the history of the business, like how long has it been around?
right.
You know, yeah, that type of stuff. And it could have that stuff with it.
Yeah.
And even incorporate some of that. And also, right above the footer, they could have a static widget that is just their Instagram feed. So people can see like that more updated stuff all the time as well. Not just like that tiny link in the bottom,
Yeah.
but maybe, you know, sticky bottom of your product page. You know, you always are seeing that feed of like big images from the Instagram, seeing that fresh content on top of it. I also personally feel like the typography needs a little bit of more personality under like description and like those areas because like it's kind of like a, you know, more of a personality on the font of the product title. But now that you're, you know, we're kind of getting into the weeds of things,
Right.
I just feel, you know, maybe incorporated. Honestly, if I was this brand, I would really suggest just doing a quick migration onto a different theme. To be honest, like I think,
That
you know,
makes
a
sense.
top-down redesign that incorporates all these things that we're saying is probably really beneficial for them, especially if they're not doing nearly as much online as they're doing in store. That might be one of the reasons is because people come to the store. It's like if you didn't design your in-person store, you know, to be inviting for that foot traffic to come in or for those people to come in. You know, you got to be intentional about that. People
Right.
come in and you do it in a really specific way that you're like passionate about. You got to do the same thing with your online store. I don't get that feeling from this store that there's like as much emphasis on the online as the in-person brand. And in order for them to take it to the next level, I think that they, you know, need to take a look at all these big brands that we've pulled up here,
Mhm.
all these websites between, you know, all these tabs. Well, I think that's pronounced asphalt, but it's like, you know,
Yes.
spelled in that
Yes.
sort of way. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I mean, I just was literally looking for random ones, but the red dress one, I think Allie's got a great point. This one is the one. So if you're like going to base it on something, this brand is new and up and coming.
Uh-huh.
They've been killing it on social media. They've sort of sprung up and like taken a big chunk, right? And so yeah, just take a look at like how everything's laid out there and just base it on that. That's what we would do if we were redesigning this, but
yeah, it's cool because I've seen them. I mean, even just their branding, for example, has grown so much since I started working with them a long time ago. You know,
Right.
like 2 years ago.
Might have been like a smaller brand and now they're like way
now
bigger.
they're
Yeah.
taking off. And I wanted to add on. So when you mentioned having more of their store content on their website, which I think really helps to humanize them even more.
Right.
I think to go off of that, a cool idea, like there's so many trends I keep mentioning, but there's this one where it's like, okay, you talk to your employees, you're like, hey, build an outfit for me with your favorite pieces in the store. So they run around real quickly and grab different things. But that'd be a way to show an outfit, show what your store is like, kind of show the personality of your staff. So you get all three in one.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's a really good, because like that's bottomless content right
Exactly.
there. Yeah. Because it's like
that so many
people that
times.
are into that stuff, I could see like the style, coming in and like it's like, oh, what outfit are they going to come up with next based on all this stuff just from the shelf?
Yeah, and it kind of gives the employees something fun to do and shows off their personality. And then you're like, hey, I want to go in there and talk to them and see maybe they can help me find something. Or, if I shoot them a DM, maybe they can help me pick out something for an event or something. It just kind of starts that conversation as well.
Yeah.
So we've gotten those. That's all really good stuff, guys. Thank you so much, guy and gal.
You're welcome.
Sorry. So we get this a lot, right? Because this is what we do. We help online e-commerce stores scale, and it's not uncommon to where we get somebody like this, where they definitely have a really good start and they're going in a positive direction. But from what I'm hearing from you guys is that one thing that they should focus on first is the actual design of the actual website, the content on the website, the vibe, the feel,
right,
and all of these other recommendations for organic stuff.
Yeah.
Before you decide to dive right into targeted ads, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, then eventually, like, for example, these trends can be turned into an ad because that's user generated content in a sense, which would be perfect. It's real people showing the products in the store. That's perfect because then I feel like people would gravitate towards seeing an actual in-store location that's also online. So it's a 2-for-1.
Right.
And I guess what I'm getting at too is that, that's really good, Allie. Thank you. I'm getting at too is that you want to be able to get, before you start spending money on ads, you want to make sure that you have a solid foundation.
Correct.
To drive to.
Yeah.
And now we don't have any analytics or data for this site. Like if we had some analytics or data, we could give you a little bit more input.
Right.
But this is just straight up looking at a site as is.
I would imagine this brand, I'm going to guess. So I would imagine this brand is getting very significantly less online than they are in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, I would imagine so for sure. And I think that they realize that they want to scale their business. They already have a brick and mortar store that's doing well,
right,
and they want to scale it online, and they're doing a fantastic job. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have somebody in-house who's just doing managing their Instagram stuff. But I think that really the focus here is focus on the user experience, the CRO, maybe the organic traffic, try to build that traffic up before you start spending money on ads. Because when you start spending money on ads, if they're not converting, maybe, whatever reason, then you could be in the hole pretty quickly if you're not careful.
Yeah. If they're not getting any traffic at all, I would suggest get a site that you're really, really comfortable with, make all these changes, and then run small micro campaigns.
Yes.
Get some tests in there because you need some data.
Yes.
So if you're not getting any traffic at all, and you look at your Shopify dashboard and you're like, I don't have anything to base it on because I'm getting like 10 users a month, 100 users a month, something like that. Then you could do a small ad campaign, burn a little bit of money, get some data in there.
I agree.
Especially if you're installing things like heat maps and recordings and stuff like through Hotjar or through Microsoft Clarity and things like that. You got to get that data in there, because if you're going to spend just a little bit, you just need to know. You got to have that combination of branding that's going to work between the ad, the creative on the website. It is a hard combo to hit, but once you do it, then it's a money printing machine.
Yeah.
Right. But you have to get the website right and the ads right, and they have to synchronize together.
And so I like your idea of just doing some microbursts like campaigns or something as opposed to full blown, big ad campaigns like we're running all the time. What should they do once they start getting some of that data, like in the back end of Shopify?
So it just depends on what the data says. If the data says, for example, I would run tests. So here's an example of a test. We are the soul of Fort Lauderdale, right? So if I took that same phrase and I put it on a compilation image that's got a bunch of their products, got a bunch of models wearing their products, and put that on a split test against this, I would assume that would convert better. If I make all the changes on the website that I have suggested and compared them to this, I would imagine that they would be way better. So what I would do is verify all those changes are making good differences and then keep iterating. This is definitely a website that needs to iterate in order to succeed because it's such a hyper competitive niche. Like, if we were trying to sell, like I said, coffee, supplements, apparel, like, things like that like there's so many brands trying to do it. You have to stand out somehow. And so a big way to do that, honestly, is to have a pretty fancy website that really makes people say, like, I want to buy this brand.
100%.
And I think so before they start to do those type of things, you probably want to take note of where they're at now.
Yeah.
Like you always want to make sure that you're looking at a snapshot of time. Let's just say today's August 2nd, right? So if you were to look at this today on the very beginning of August, where are we at? How many users are coming to the site? How many sales are we converting? What exactly is our position in the marketplace right now? Mm-hmm. Make note of that, then make some adjustments. Now, don't make a bazillion adjustments, make a few adjustments. And then at the end of August and beginning of September, see what those adjustments did and which ones worked and which ones didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely. I do think starting with a full redesign and then iterating from there is probably the way to go. But just, like you said, just doing as many adjustments as quickly as possible for this website.
Now, Allie will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that on site making those adjustments are good. But if you're the type of person that is like antsy and just can't wait and you've got to do some other things, I mean, organically, there's always things you could be doing every single day, and you should essentially never stop.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it, if you're only doing posts 3 times a week, let's scale it up to once a day.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, and you can do a lot of this super quick, like getting the website redone, getting stuff on the Instagram organically, kind of maybe giving it a little bit of a rebrand or elevating the content you're producing. Like all this can be done within I don't know about, I guess from the web or from the social side, I'd say you can get it out perfected in a month or so. I don't know about from Mike's standpoint for the website.
Oh yeah, I think this website redesign could be fairly fast, like around a month. So everything would happen at the same time. Like say we were working on it as a team,
right?
I could have the website redesign about the same speed as you guys could get, the social side sorted. So everything would kind of come together at once if we were to do that, I think. But yeah, I mean, even on mobile, actually, I think that the fold is used pretty decently. So most of the time, I would say, and the fold, by the way, for those of you who don't know that are super into web stuff, is what the screen sees when the page loads. So as Allie was talking, you could see I was browsing the mobile version of the website just to double check things were good. I like the big photos on the mobile version that are taller, that take up a lot. I normally don't like that, but on an apparel website, it works. Sticky add to cart, I always say you got to do that. And a lot of the things that I said on desktop are I just didn't want to skip over mobile. I wanted to say one thing I wanted to point out that I just noticed that I want to give the business owner as a value add is the add to cart actually takes a while. So there's some kind of JavaScript error that's going on there on the add to cart, and it's not redirecting. So when I'll let you see it here. So when I click add to cart, it does that for longer than I would like to see. And then it takes a second. And if I scroll a little bit, it goes away like that. It takes a second to prompt you to continue to cart. So you either need to have an add to cart redirect, or you need to make that way faster than it currently is. I do like that you go to the checkout page instead of the cart page right here, because you could just go right. Well, actually, sorry, this is their cart page. They actually have a cart page that's designed really similar to checkout page. So I don't have any criticisms for this. This is fine. This is stock Shopify stuff. They do it right here. Yeah. And the same thing with checkout. All this stuff is completely fine on the checkout side. But yeah, just the add to cart thing, I would definitely fix on that. Like it's called Ajax carts. Like you'd have to have a developer do that, or you'd have to switch themes. But that code right there is all built into the theme. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's probably an error in the console whenever you do that. But yeah, when you click add to cart, it shouldn't like you. Yeah, and now it's there. Like
Right.
it shouldn't take that long.
Right.
It's another thing that's costing you sales.
Yeah, exactly. Again, user experience. You making it as seamless and fast and easy as possible. Because when you get people going to your site, they're ready to buy. They just are looking for the thing that they want, and they want to be out of there real quick because they got a million things going on, right?
Right.
Yeah.
People have the attention span of a goldfish.
It's so true. So you like that's how it is. You've got one shot, to make that impression when people actually visit your profile on social media. But like when you do run sponsored ads, it's repetition is key. So those are different things to keep in mind. But yeah, if we were going to, for example, get this client or a client like this, up and running with social, like, it's a pretty quick process on our end. It would only take like, a week or two ideally, but we'd have to first, work on the rebranding and like getting more content, on the page. But other than that, it's like it's not a super long process, and it's not as hard as it sounds, but like I mean to get it up and going from the client standpoint. But also, so a little tip or like secret actually is that like when I am producing content for my personal account, like I will even have like content days. So it's like I will block out a few hours like on a Sunday or something and just make content, put them in my draft. So then I will schedule them out to post them when it's, a day that I want that to be posted. But that way I have mass content to use, which is really helpful. And then also, if you can pull up Red Dress's Instagram page one more time for me.
Sure, of course.
What I really like about their page is, so when you scroll down, you can see it's like a bunch of neutral pictures. Then you keep going, and that's like their fall. That's like they're releasing fall stuff. And then you go down, it's more moody, and it's kind of the play on Sex in the City because they put Sex in the City. Then you scroll down and there's reds, and then more like tropical pictures for summer. I just kind of like how their collections are kind of in themes on their profile, so it's like really aesthetic to look at when you're scrolling, but it also is their way of showing you their different collections too, which I think is pretty neat.
Makes sense. We got the pop up there for like not logging in, but I got far enough down.
Yeah.
To do the point. Like you could see the different this is the streaming PC, or Mac, but you know what I'm saying. You can see the different things, and you guys can go check out the Red Dress page over here and compare it to your own. But yeah, I mean, I think that we have covered so much on this website. We honestly, we could help this brand so much, especially if they're having like big success in person, but they're not having big success online, and they don't understand why. I assume that's the position they're in now. And I think we can do a tremendous amount for this brand. So I hope we could get to work with them.
I would love to.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to join me today, Allie. Thanks for popping in.
Thanks for having me.
Today's not Tuesday. I'm thrown off. I only get to see your face on Tuesdays in person. But I appreciate it, guys. I mean, I think everything that you gave input on for this brand, plus looking at those others, is super valuable stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that need to be done, and a lot of things you need to do to kind of boost your brand up and get it to a point to where you're ready to actually start spending money on ads and things of that nature to scale it up. So, that's all some really good input, and I'm sure that that would be really helpful to this online store, and hopefully get a chance to work with them. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for episode 7. I think we're up to 7 now.
That's crazy.
Wow. We're approaching.
This was a fun one.
Yeah, we're approaching 10. So that's really exciting. I think every single time we've gotten a little bit better, and there's always some new things in play, and just looking forward to continuing to grow. So thanks a lot, guys. And we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
Bye.